Hi guys, I am back at it again today. If you guys have been liking my videos and my content, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Um, but today I actually felt like making a updated celibate video that I haven't done in a while because I know some of you guys may have found me at a time where I was celibate in my life and I was making celibate videos and why I was such a strong advocate on celibacy. But as I went along my journey, I found out that it was not for me, which was very interesting. It was a very interesting journey. But I'm here to speak upon that journey for those of you who may still be celibate or thinking of not being celibate anymore or trying to figure out where you stand as far as sexuality in general. So maybe hearing what I went through in my journey and why I'm no longer celibate can help you in your journey figure some things out. Uh, but yeah, um, so as a just a disclaimer, I've been on both extremes of the spectrum as far as sexuality. In my teenage years, I was very promiscuous, very free in my sexuality, and when I went through a pretty bad breakup, I went to being celibate for 2 years. Now I'm kind of in this in between figuring out my sexuality and becoming comfortable in what I like, what I don't like, doing things on my own terms. Uh, so now that I said that, being celibate was at first a very rewarding journey for me. The first 2 years after I broke up with my long term ex of 4 years, uh, it was very rewarding journey because I felt at one point, as I mentioned before, that yes, I was very sexually liberated when I was younger, but I also think I used sex to cope with a lot of issues that I couldn't face head on. Being celibate gave me an opportunity to heal from the past, from ex lovers, to understand myself a lot more, to become self aware, to become even spiritually intact, to find myself spiritually, things of that nature. So it gave me an opportunity to be single, to work on myself, to understand myself more as a person, which I am so thankful for so far in my journey. But it also taught me what I did not like being celibate. Um, Parts of being celibate, of why I was staying celibate after the initial phase of learning about myself, which took 2 years, was that people started feeling like they could control my body, meaning I started doing it not because I was happy about it now or that it was my choice, but because people were saying because of how it seemed to others. I thought that being celibate would be this, oh, everyone would treat me better because I'm such a like prude, or I come off such like a sweetheart. I don't do anything wrong, so people treat me better. It just looked better to society. So I kept being celibate after the initial phase of learning about myself. I started becoming unhappy. I was pretty sure that I wanted sex again, and I forgot the initial reason why even that it was my choice to be celibate in the first place. But I stayed celibate after a while, after the initial 2 years, because family, because of past history problems of people not agreeing with my morality, things that I felt was freeing, meaning that there was a point in time where I did nude modeling, where I still dabble in that, but a lot of shame around sexuality that people were putting on me, that I didn't even realize a lot of shame and sexual guilt was coming from society in general and how women are treated, etc. It was a lot of things adding up to why I was staying celibate, but it was no longer my choice. And I knew this because I was becoming very unhappy. I knew that I just wanted to get it over with. It's kind of like the virgins who are so eager to just have sex already because people are making a big deal about it. Um, but yeah, I stopped being celibate ultimately because I wasn't happy. And I feel like we shouldn't practice things in our life, or like spiritual practices or practices in our life that doesn't resonate with us and who we are. And who we are can change dramatically over time. Meaning, yes, there was a time in my life where celibacy worked completely fine for me, and I needed it. I terribly needed it. But now it's like I'm older and I'm thinking for myself. I took all that time to figure some shit out, and now I'm to the next phase. So as we grow, as we evolve, we are not obligated to stay the same to all these phases. We change like the fucking seasons. So by all means, kudos to everyone who can stay celibate until they're married or for years and years, but that does not suit everyone. And for me, it did not suit me and what I believe in or what I'm gearing towards believing in now. As far as, for example, sexual liberation, and I touched on this in my previous videos this week or today actually, how I believe that in my journey now I understand how society makes women feel shameful or guilty about expressing themselves sexually or their kinks, their wants, their desires. And a part of why I was staying celibate was because of what everyone was telling me to do, or what everyone was making me feel shameful for wanting to express myself in that way, or my desires, or wanting to go out and fulfill my own needs. So once I figured out, oh, fuck that, I'm not having that. I'm not having anyone tell me how I should date, who I should date, with how many people I should stay limited to. It just suits me better to have a choice over everything I get to do in my life, including my sexuality. So I stopped being celibate because of that reason. I felt like I was no longer in control of my life. I was just doing it to please family or please. Even when I started celibate videos, I was doing it to please you guys out of this ideal of a goody two shoes, or oh, I get treated better, which is bullshit, because you just ultimately end up being unhappy. Yeah, you may seem like this goody goody, but if you're unhappy, you're not having fun, you're not doing what you want, you're not fulfilling your own needs because everyone is telling you what to do, then ultimately what kind of life is that to live? Even I know some people stay celibate or don't have sex because of maybe their aversion or because of their religion. And by all means, it's your choice if you're comfortable with that. But if you don't want to do those things, by all means, you shouldn't be hit with a book or like hit with a whip, or because you enjoy certain things or you want to explore new terrain or you want to get laid. But yeah, I think people have too much say on our sexual lives, our sexuality and our sexual lives that we don't even have a say in. Ultimately, our voices were taken from us, and now everyone tells us, oh, this is what you enjoy, this is what you'll be like, this is how you'll have a fulfilling life, which is complete and utter bullshit. Only we know, ultimately, at the end of the day, what we enjoy and what we don't enjoy. Ultimately, I felt like at the end of the day, when I chose not to be celibate anymore, I was being tested as far as my unhappiness and getting what I deserved. Was I going to listen to other people how to run my life, or was I going to do what I want for the first time in ever or in my whole existence? And now I try to practice doing what I want and what makes me happy in my whole existence on a daily basis, regardless of what people think of me, regardless of any grudges they may hold because I do so, or I go with feeling what I'm comfortable with, what I'm not comfortable with, what I want to explore, etc. I put me first, and a lot of people may not agree with that. But this should be the same for you in your journey. If being celibate is something that you want to do and people are not okay with it, if you don't have a spouse that's okay with that, by all means, drop those people. If you choose to say celibate, keep around you positive people who are going to help you with your vision. Like, I wouldn't surround myself with people who disagree with me expressing sexual liberation when I'm all for women's rights and expressing, not slut shaming, etc. So that's something that I just ended up growing out of the more I educated myself on how women have been conditioned throughout history and how we've been shamed into believing that sex is a bad thing. So yeah, that is why I stopped being celibate. For those of you who have more questions, I can still educate and help people who want to stay celibate and how I did it, even if you guys want that, or if you want to transition from a period of from that to sexually liberate yourself. By all means, just do what you want, do what you feel comfortable with. Even for the virgins out there who are fiending to have sex, it's really your choice at the end of the day. You shouldn't feel bad for what you want. and bad for what you don't want either. So I'm not trying to act like I'm trying to conform anyone. Just speaking my mind and my journey right now. But yeah, so that's why I ended up not being celibate anymore. But yeah, be dope, be you unapologetically, practice the power of choice, expressing yourself freely, and getting the life that you deserve, regardless of what people think. So yeah, peace.